Hi guys, Morris here with another video. You probably clicked on this video because you're considering moving to Switzerland. In this video, I'm going to provide you with 12 reasons why you should move to Switzerland. So let's just jump right into it. The first reason I want to cover, and probably the reason why you're looking at moving to Switzerland, is job opportunities. For a small country, there are only about 8.5 million people. Switzerland definitely punches above its size in terms of the variety of jobs that can be found within the country. It also has a very low unemployment rate, which has been below 5% for each of the past 5 years. So that's pretty much half the unemployment rate you would find in neighboring France or Italy, and about 3 to 4 times lower than what you would find in Spain and Greece, which have the highest unemployment rates in Europe. So Switzerland is also home to many large multinational corporations. In fact, 15 Fortune 500 companies are headquartered in Switzerland, including Glencore, Nestle, Adecco, and Credit Suisse, just to name a few. You also find that many of these large multinational companies work in English and have many expats working for them. So if you're like me and you work at an international organization, Switzerland is arguably one of the best countries in the world to work, as it hosts more than 50 international organizations, including the World Trade Organization, CERN, International Labour Organization, and World Health Organization. It is important to note that the city you live in will play a big role in what type of job you will find, since certain cities are more dominant in a particular industry than others. For example, Basel has a strong pharma industry, while Zurich has a strong banking industry, and someone working in the international public sector like me, Geneva would probably be the most logical choice. So I've made an entire video on which cities in Switzerland might be the best for you depending on what type of industry you work in, which I'll make sure to link in the description below. So that brings me to my second reason why you should move to Switzerland, which is the high salaries that are offered within the country. So I made an entire video on salaries, which I'll make sure to link in the description below. But like I said in that video, the average expat salary is around 110,000 US dollars per year. And salaries are generally high across the board, with minimum wage workers typically earning a take-home salary of around 2,500 Swiss francs per month, which is about double the take-home salary of a minimum wage worker in France or Germany. So for a lot of the more skilled jobs like accountants, teachers, plumbers, engineers, it's quite normal to earn anywhere between 6,000 to 8,000 Swiss francs per month after taxes. So that brings me to my next reason why you should move to Switzerland, which is the relatively low taxes compared to other countries in Western Europe. So if you look at the pre-tax salaries in Western Europe, you'll find that they can be quite high compared to many other countries around the world. However, the take-home salaries are often considerably lower due to the high taxes that are in place in much of Europe. For example, in many Scandinavian countries or countries like Belgium or France, you will often have effective tax rates that are over 70% if you factor in things like income tax, social contributions, and VAT. Switzerland is one of the few countries that doesn't follow this high tax approach. For example, let's say you earn a gross salary of 100,000 euros per year in Switzerland. That would mean that you would get to keep around 79,000 euros, leaving you with an effective tax rate of 21.1%. Now let's compare that to earning the same 100,000 euros per year salary in Belgium. In that scenario, your take-home salary would be about 48,500 euros per year, which is just over 30,000 euros less per year than what you would keep if you were living in Switzerland. And that doesn't even include the high taxes your employer pays, which would add an additional 25,000 euros to your tax bill, meaning that you would have an effective tax rate of over 60%, which is double what you would have in Switzerland. Even the VAT or sales tax in Switzerland, which sits at 7.7% for most goods, is much lower than other countries in Europe, which typically have VAT rates of around 20%. So what makes things even better is that despite having significantly lower taxes, Switzerland still has social benefits which are at the same level, or in some cases even better than those countries which have very high tax rates, which makes it a real win-win situation. So the fourth reason you should move to Switzerland is the abundance of beautiful nature. Switzerland is known for having beautiful mountain ranges and glaciers, including the world-famous Matterhorn. It is also home to the Rhine Falls, which is Europe's largest waterfall. In addition to that, you'll have numerous beautiful lakes like Lake Geneva, Lake Lucerne, and Lake Zurich. So for a small country, it really has a quite varied and beautiful landscape. The fifth reason to live in Switzerland is safety. Crime levels in Switzerland are generally low. In fact, Switzerland ranks as the 7th safest country in the world. Not only are you safe from a crime standpoint, you're also safe from a health standpoint as well, with Switzerland having the second highest life expectancy in the world. Also, the emphasis that Switzerland has placed on remaining neutral throughout history means that you won't need to worry about Switzerland entering into any kind of military conflict. The sixth reason you should live in Switzerland is that there are a lot of foreign nationals in the country. Having lived as an expat in more than 10 countries around the world, I can tell you that there are advantages and disadvantages to living in places that have a high number of foreign nationals. But in the case of Europe, I think it is normally a positive thing for expats, as it means that locals are more used to outsiders, which makes your experience as a foreigner a lot more pleasant. So if you look at the bigger cities which you're most likely to find yourself in, you'll see that Foreign nationals make up between 30 to 40% of the local population, which means that you shouldn't feel like such an outsider since a large percentage of fellow residents are foreign born as well. And at the national level, foreign nationals make up around 20% of the total population. So another reason to move to Switzerland is location, location, location. So Switzerland is truly in the heart of Europe, which means that you can easily travel to neighboring countries by car or train. For example, if you live in Zurich, in less than 4 hours, you can find yourself in places like Milan, Lake Como, Liechtenstein, Freiburg, Strasbourg, Stuttgart, and Munich. And in just a few hours more, you can be in places like Nice, Venice, Paris, and Florence. And if you choose to fly instead of driving or taking the train, you can be almost anywhere in Europe in under 2 hours. In addition, the small size of Switzerland itself, as well as the excellent rail system, means that you can get anywhere in the country in under 2 hours. Since Switzerland is located in the Alps, it really is a winter sport paradise. Whether you're into skiing, snowboarding, or ice climbing, you can easily do these activities without having to travel too far from the city in order to have access to world-class winter sport facilities. And even if you don't know how to do any of these sports, the fact that you have such easy access to them means you can try them to see if it's something you'd like to do in the long run. And for those of you who don't like the cold, these same mountains make excellent hiking trails in the summer months. So whether you're looking to study at university or looking for schools for your children, getting a good quality and an affordable education is very important. Switzerland has a very good education system and is often ranks near the top in the world in terms of quality of primary and secondary education. In addition, the high number of expats means that there's a good selection of international schools as well. It also has several well-known universities that consistently rank near the top of global university rankings, including ETH Zurich, Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Lausanne, as well as the universities of Basel, Bern, and Geneva. What I really like about Swiss universities is that for locals and EU nationals, tuition fees are really reasonable, averaging between 1,000 to 1,500 euros per year. For international students from outside of Europe, tuition fees can be around double of what Swiss and EU nationals pay. However, this is still considerably lower than what you would pay in other countries like the United States, UK, Australia, or Canada. I'll actually make a dedicated video on studying in Switzerland, which I will make sure to link in the video description below. So a lot of you might come from regions like North America or Asia, where long working hours are the norm. In that case, you'll be happy to know that Switzerland has excellent work-life balance. For example, normally you get 4 weeks or 20 days of paid vacation. In addition to that, you'll get an additional 9 to 16 days of additional leave for public holidays, which will vary a bit depending on which canton you live in. This means that out of the 365 days of the year, you'll typically have about 250 working days. So another thing that makes Switzerland have a good work-life balance is that the Swiss like to adhere to strict office hours, so you'll rarely find anyone in the office just a few minutes after the close of business day in most industries. The final reason why you should move to Switzerland is that things just work. So unlike some other countries where there's a lot of government bureaucracy, corruption, or straight-up incompetence in the public or private sector, Switzerland doesn't really have these issues. Switzerland is also well known for its efficiency and high levels of work productivity, with the country typically being one of the top 3 countries in the world when it comes to work productivity. So the way that the country is designed, in which the different cantons end up competing with each other in order to make themselves more attractive to businesses, means that they end up having a very straightforward and generally business-friendly environment. If you look at the way that Switzerland handles politics using their direct democracy approach, which uses referendums to make major political changes, you can see that this type of approach can be a lot more simple and straightforward than the more complex systems employed by other countries around the world. So that sums up my 12 reasons why you should live in Switzerland. I'm curious to know what are the reasons that have made you decide to want to move to Switzerland, so let me know in the comment section below. If you found this video useful, I really appreciate it if you could hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really helps more people see this video. If you're interested in more videos about living in Switzerland, I've made an entire playlist for you guys to check out. And finally, if you are interested in seeing more videos like this about living abroad, why not consider subscribing? I hope to see you in the next video.